They'll be dancing.
Come on, Larry.
Okay, we'll call this to order. Roll call, Ms. Ford.
Chairman Smith,
Here.
Mrs. Black,
Here?
Mr. Connor,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Mrs. Jones,
Here.
Mr. King,
Here.
Mr. Perez,
Here.
Mrs. Faye Robinson,
Here.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson,
Here.
Mrs. Thurman, here, Dr. Wingate,
Here.
Superintendent Robertson.
Here.
Okay, we need to approve the agenda. There has been some amendments you see there that's in red. And I want to refer you, to item 9A1. The executive committee has struck that item from the agenda. So I will ask that we approve the agenda as amended with item 9A1 has been struck from the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I'm sorry, who motioned to approve it? Gary. Okay. Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry. Before we vote on that, I'd like to make a motion to add it back.
Okay?
Second.
First we vote.
Well, it's a motion to amend, basically, so we have a motion to approve the agenda by Gary King, seconded by Larry Groen, and now I'm taking a motion to amend.
Motion to amend to add item 9A1 back to the agenda to be voted on.
I second.
Okay, so then we move to a vote on the motion to amend.
So first the motion comes.
So, motion to amend,
Discussion?
the motion to amend to put it back on, to leave it
Yes,
as it
ma'am.
is, okay.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
What?
Wait a
All
minute,
right.
wait a minute.
Yes, so I have discussion. So before we do this vote, again, my question comes back up. We haven't decided on the 5% or the 2,800. So to vote on this budget, not knowing whether we're gonna do the 5% or the 2,800, are we gonna have the discussion first?
It's a separate vote. It's under board matters. It's not part of the consent agenda.
Wait.
But the budget overall, the amount in the rate, right, is included. So we're either talking about a $12 million difference.
No.
No,
Right.
it's the same amount.
All right.
It's the same amount.
It's the same amount, it's just how you do it.
All right.
Isn't it one, it's the same amount, it's just how you do it, either flat or percentage, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're still discussing the amended item, and I got Ms. Thurman.
Oh, no.
Okay? That's okay. Mr. Connor?
Thank you, Chair. So we are discussing it now. It was my interpretation, because last meeting you said you'd come to bring us with A and B to pick from, and that would be on this agenda. So are we not going to vote on A or B and then the budget?
Yeah, we would. I mean, we would get, my understanding is that we could do that within the vote of the agenda, is that we would decide A or B.
Okay.
The reason it's the same budget is, to Ms. Black's point, it's the same dollar amount either way.
Okay, but the intention, let's just say hypothetically that this amendment passes, we vote on item 9 tonight. Before we vote on item 9 finally, we would have previously voted on A or B.
Yeah, so you get a motion with the budget with a flat increase, or a motion for the budget with a % increase.
Thank you for clarification.
Ms. Faye Robinson?
Yes, I am used to job classes have different pay scale. So I'm torn between that. And aren't we having a company to review salaries? And if we are not on par with other companies with the same job, will that be raised after, even though we vote for this?
Just a point of order. our discussion now needs to be about adding this item, and then we'll speak to that.
Oh, okay.
When we
Okay.
approve or we vote on the budget. Mr. Rump?
I think we need to address B's first, but to me, Mr. Chair, it sounds like we need to have a budget committee meeting.
Okay, what, and you may very well be right.
Because we're not even settled on that aspect of the budget, that we're either wanting to remove from consideration tonight or keep consideration tonight. And maybe we're up in the air on all this
Okay.
until we get more concrete information from our funding source, which is the county commission.
Right. Okay, thank you, Mr. Rowan. And you, Mr. Rowan, you may very well be right, and it still seems to me like there's a lot of discussion needs to be had. Right now, what we're talking about is putting this back on the agenda to vote tonight. I can just tell you, if we vote tonight, my vote's gonna be no. And that doesn't mean I necessarily disagree with the budget. I just feel like there's still just a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of discussion that needs to be had. And by waiting until our next meeting, maybe perhaps gives us that time. So, Mr. Perez?
I have said publicly, as I'm rolling off this board, that sometimes being on this board feels like one of the most powerless roles I've had. I'm 1/11 of a vote. Let's start there. Whether I like it or not, my funding body is above me. In Spanish, I'll use a Spanish phrase. We say, el que paga la música, el que paga la fiesta, escoge la música. The one who pays for the party chooses the music. And so whether I like it or not, and I'm going to be honest, Mr. Connor, I don't like it. Like, I've never liked it. It's how it is. But the way our state has determined is a commission above me funds our board. And then above them, that's the other part of powerlessness, is a state that determines all the funding. This is why last year, for instance, we made the statement, we don't raise taxes, folks. We even got asked in that committee meeting, are you asking for a tax raise? No, we don't raise taxes. We go to the county commission and request the money that we want in order to achieve the goals that we have. I lean, if it's passed and the amendment is passed, but I lean to hoping, is that a good word, that in good faith, the commission and the county mayor and the board who chooses the music is also playing along with us. And so I'm hopeful. I'm going to use that word. I know why some aren't as hopeful, but I'm hopeful that as the community, which I've called for many times, makes their priorities, your priorities, our priorities known to the county commission, you will encourage them to vote in favor of everything that is needed to make this the best county in the state of Tennessee and to start competing at a national level. So I'm willing to play along for now, knowing that it's still on us and we're still going to vote for a budget. And if I don't like what they come back with, I'm still going to push them either way. But
Okay, thank you, Mr. Perez. Any other discussion about the motion that's on the floor, which is to add item 9A1 back to the agenda?
Motion was as it's written, and then, do we not, are we not taking two votes?
it's an amendment.
No.
Well, I mean, eventually, so this is,
Vote to remove it.
the chair was correct.
Okay.
So the question before the board now is whether to put the budget back on the agenda. If approved, you still have to approve the agenda.
But how are we putting it back if we haven't removed it yet?
It has been
Because the
removed.
executive committee controls the agenda, and the
Oh,
executive
okay.
committee
That's
said
true, I got it. I'm
that
with
they were striking it from the agenda because they didn't think it was ready for the board to vote on. Mr. Connor made a motion to add it back, seconded by Ms. Black, and so here we are.
Okay. So, Mr. Grom?
Excuse me, we have an excellent superintendent who we just gave a pay raise to, who is recommending to this board to remove this item. He and the chairman make up the executive committee. And this board, some people on this board is not listening to the individual who they praised and we all gave a raise to. And we're not even going to listen to the advice of our chairperson and our superintendent. I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
Thank you, Mr. Grom. Ms. Jones?
With all due respect to Dr. Robertson and to Mr. Smith, I was elected by District 5, not Dr. Robertson, not Mr. Smith. Dr. Robertson's not elected to anybody. He was hired by us. With all due respect. And I understand the role of an executive committee, which is what I asked the question, I got the clarity. I understand that. But I want the public to be understanding, and I hope my peers on this board understand that when you swore on a Bible, you swore to the people of Hamilton County, the state of Tennessee, and the district that elected you. So the loyalty goes both ways. Now, I respect Dr. Robertson and his knowledge and skill set in his role, just as I respect the chair that was elected by this board. And I know that the feelings are mutual in respect to us that sit here at this dais.
That's right.
So I'm not really sure where that came from, so I want to clarify that. Because we're all adults here. And in Socratic seminar settings, you agree to disagree sometimes. Now, that was the recommendation. But I recommend to my child every night to go to bed at a certain time, don't mean he go. And I love him dearly. So we all know recommendations are not always heard or agreed upon. Now, if it is the pleasure of this body to remove it and proceed forth, my question would be, are we gonna have a meeting? Or a series of meetings? Because if we're not gonna have a meeting or a series of meetings, I'm not in the business of kicking the can down the road and spending a lot of time with y'all unnecessarily because I have a life. And I'm not in the business of doing a dog and pony show with the county commission for a 10th year. I'm tired. I'm not a dog or a pony, I'm a human and I'm tired. So if we're not gonna have a meeting to decide how we're gonna give these individuals who dedicate their life and time and money to our kids every day, whether it be a percentage or a flat fee or different percentages based off what you do or whatever, if we're not gonna do that and come to some other consensus of we gonna talk about these buildings that's falling apart, like some of the schools in my district who ain't had air this week, or that the ceiling falling out every time it rains. I'm scared I'm scared to read my email. Bargain ceiling pipe fell in today. So we're not talking about that kind of stuff. I don't want to keep meeting about what the county commission want to tell us to do. So my question to Mr. Perez is, if we support the decision or the recommendation of the executive committee, are we gonna meet? And to be perfectly honest, we got graduations next week, then kids gonna be getting out of school, then summer reach gonna be starting, folks gonna be, so just, I wanna know, how we gonna make time?
I would like to propose to the board that Thursday, because I think either way, we're gonna have to meet again, one way or the other. So Thursday, May 30th, if everyone can live that. What? Why not?
I have something important. I don't think I'm technically
Well,
allowed to say
I, as a committee, we set a date, and those who can make it, I invite to make it. I can't invite everybody. But we will find a date when the committee can meet between now and June 20th.
That's a great idea.
Because I think we're going to have meetings no matter what. But I don't think that should be the decision on whether or not you vote to add this back to the agenda. If you believe that you need to add this back to the agenda and vote on it tonight, I think you should do that. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to meet again, regardless of whether we add it to the agenda or not tonight.
So thank you. Yeah, I wasn't asking for that purpose. I'm just asking for my vote purpose.
But I will say in advance, because I've tried this many times, I will not get agreement on everybody on the night that we're meeting.
That's right.
That's not gonna happen, so I'm not gonna be asking for everybody to agree with me on what night we're gonna have our meeting.
Okay. Mr. Connor?
So I'll be quick as possible because Caritza hit almost every item that I wanted to say. Is that you don't hire somebody just to always agree with them. Like, that's conversation. That's how you good governance is conversation. But I will say this, that a vote to not vote on this tonight, a vote to keep this off of the agenda, is a vote to not have your voice heard for your constituents. Because we are saying, Dr. Robertson, go do it for us. We're not voting for ourselves. Now, there's the possibility of having other conversations, possibly, but some of us have been to those meetings, and I just got to listen. So I'm trying. This is apparently the only place where I get to hold onto this microphone and speak. And so that's what I'm doing. And that's what I want to vote on.
Okay, Mr. Wingate?
I'd like to vote.
Call for the question.
Okay.
I'd like to vote.
So, for clarity, Mr. Bennett, remind us what we're fixing to have a roll call on.
You're fixing to have a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman, on Mr. Connor's motion to add the budget back to the agenda.
Okay? Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mrs. Jones?
No.
Mr. King?
No.
Mr. Perez?
No.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
No.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
No.
Mrs. Thurman?
No.
Dr. Wingate?
No.
Chairman Smith?
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, so now I need a motion to approve.
You already have it.
I already got that motion.
and a second.
Okay.
Just need to vote.
And we got a second.
Yes, sir.
So we're ready for a roll call on the agenda as amended. Roll call.
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes?
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. So I believe we have Miss McCauley here for our, Dr. McCauley, excuse me. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Dr. McCauley, are you here? Thank you.
Hello. I am Dr. McCauley, principal of Tyner Middle Academy. I have me a student, Maya Johnson. We'll start with our meditation. Maya has a poem, and then we'll conclude with our pledge.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maya Johnson, also student president at Tyner Middle, and I'm here to read a poem called Student to District. Well, I'll tell you, if life ain't been no crystal stairs, then why is it despite my hard work, it seems like nobody cares? 5 days a week, I try to learn in a room with no air. There's tacks, boards, and splinters. There's heat in the spring and cool in the winter. So if there's no staircase to climb, I'll make my own. You taught me that whatever I water, it grows. I've never ran from hard work. I've tasseled and toiled, and I'll bloom anywhere despite the tough soil. From mother to daughter, father to son, I'm doing it for us, and I've only just begun. 'Cause life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you, Maya. If we can stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCauley and Maya. That was amazing. Thank you.
Maya and Dr. McCauley, and I see some of the other staff back there, Ms. Kelly and some of the others. Maya, I am aware that you all have, we're always aware that you all have heating and air issues, but I am aware that there was some air conditioning issues the past few weeks at Tyner Middle. And I want to ask Dr. Sharp, there was supposed to be a compressor order and then a portable place there. Has that been done?
We do have a compressor that is on order. We expect to have it any day, and we're prepared to install that as soon as it gets here. That'll solve that issue. We did deliver 2 portable units there this week, and continue to monitor. And as recent as yesterday, we did have our AC technicians do a room-by-room inspection to test for temperature and any issues in any room. So we're monitoring daily. Hope to have it resolved by Monday.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no exemplars tonight, or do we? Yes, okay. Yeah, we do. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Olivia Bagby, and I serve Hamilton County Schools as the Director of Future Ready Students. It is my great pleasure to be here tonight to spotlight Hamilton County Schools' 2nd annual George Kilgore Initiative Award and recognize 3 amazing career and technical education students that have both shown a high level of initiative during the past 4 years while they have completed their CTE program of study, but also continue that program of study into their post-secondary life. This award is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and commitment of those who strive for excellence in career and technical education. The George Kilgore Initiative Award is named after a great friend and teammate who dedicated his life to promoting career and technical education. A proud Saudi Daisy High School graduate, George Kilgore worked for Hamilton County Schools in career and technical education for 24 years. George began his career in education as a graphic arts teacher at Sequoia High School, where he served for 15 years. George then transitioned to the district office, working as a teacher on special assignment, reporting directly to the CTE director. In 2021, George was elevated to the title of Career and Technical Education Program Lead. Throughout his time with Hamilton County Schools, George placed the success of Hamilton County's CTE teachers and students at the forefront of every decision. He helped teachers ensure that they were equipped with every resource they needed to be successful and advocated for every student's high school and career options. George served in an instrumental role to 4 CTE directors over his 9 years at the district level. Each CTE director constantly commended him on his initiative to take action and get the work done. This year, we received many impressive applications from the students who are committed to pursuing their career and technical education pathway. However, after careful review and deliberation, we selected 3 outstanding students who truly embody the spirit of the George Kilgore Initiative Award. I'm here tonight to spotlight these 3 amazing students, joined by George's teammates and wife, Shay Kilgore. Without further ado, I am proud to introduce this year's recipients of the George Kilgore Initiative Award that all have plans to continue their journey after high school. Emma Gracie Rogers is an architecture and engineering design student at Harrison Bay Future Ready Center. Krupa Patel is a nursing student. Stay up here. Krupa Patel is a nursing services student at Hickson High School. And Jasmine Gilo Gomez is a therapeutic services student at Eastridge High School. Emma, Krypta, and Jasmine have demonstrated an unwavering commitment to excellence in their academic and professional pursuits. Their passion for architecture and engineering design, nursing services, and therapeutic services has been evident in the numerous projects and initiatives they have undertaken during their academic journey. All three students have shown exceptional leadership skills and innovative thinking and strong work ethic, which are all essential qualities for success in the fields of architecture and engineering design, nursing services, and therapeutic services. In recognition of their outstanding achievement, each student will be awarded a $1,000 assistance scholarship, which they can use to fund the necessary equipment and supplies to support their post-secondary journey. We believe that this award will help each recipient achieve their goals and aspirations in their chosen field. Krypta expressed that she will use the funds for a technology device, giving her the ability to more efficiently study, take notes, and perform health science simulations. Emma said the funds will go towards a device specifically so she could continue to do SolidWorks and AutoCAD. And Jasmine plans to use the funds for books and an iPad to facilitate her learning. I want to congratulate Krypta, Emma, and Jasmine once again and wish them all the best in their future endeavors. I also want to commend all the applicants of the George Kilgore Initiative Award for their hard work and dedication. They have shown that the pursuit and excellence in career and technical education is not only worthwhile, but essential for a better future. George would be proud.
Gary, Joe, and Larry. Larry and Joe. Here's May. Yeah. We need Larry and Joe. Yeah.
So I think we're ready for the disclaimer. So Larry, we'll just start with you. And
Does not apply.
Okay, I declare that I have a relative who works for the Hamilton County School System and that the board's vote on the budget and policies may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a family member who works for the school system and that the board's vote on budget and policies may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote on budget policies, etc., may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have relatives who work for the school system and that the board's vote on all matters may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
does not apply. Gary?
I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and the board's vote on budgets, policies, etc., may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a family member who works for the school system and that the board's vote on budget policies, etc., may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
I declare that I have a relative who works for the school system and that the board's vote may have an effect on my relative's employment. Even so, I hereby certify that I will cast my vote in the best interest of the school system.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, Ms. Ford.
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. So that takes us down to administrative matters. Need a motion to approve the differentiated compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I see one light on here. Mr. Wingate. Nope. Okay. Seeing no lights, roll call, Ms. Ford.
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. So I need a motion to approve our school nutrition community eligibility provision renewal. And you have that chart in front of you.
Motion to approve.
You got a motion, need a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Thurman?
Just to be clear for the people that don't know what we're voting on, this is just to add some more schools, right? About 10 more schools we're adding to the list. We're not taking anybody off. I just want people to understand what we're voting on. That
Okay.
10 more. Okay. And I want you to say eligibility one more time.
Eligibility. Did I do better?
That's better.
Okay. Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Hold on, I'm still laughing. Yes, please.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. So I need a motion to approve the Dallas Bay Volunteer Fire Department lot expansion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms.
Is-
Robinson?
Is the property not, can you not build on it readily? I mean, do we ever get paid?
It's a small piece of property, and it's just helping expand the fire department there, so it's part of McConnell and Loftus. It's not anything that would affect anything, an expansion in the future, but obviously we want to have a good fire department nearby our kids, so
We've
kind of
got-
being a good community partner is how I would put it.
Okay,
I
thank you.
believe it's actually this part, so this part of it is actually in a flood zone.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes. So we all have all those first read policies that we talked about, so it takes us down to, I need approval to renew our charter schools. Any motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Ford?
Mrs. Black?
Yes.
Mr. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Faye Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tiffany Robinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Thurman?
Yes.
Dr. Wingate?
Yes.
Chairman Smith?
Yes.
Can I ask a question right here, Joe?
You
Do we
can.
have any new applicants for charter schools for next year or the next year? Do we have any new ones?
We
coming
do
out?
not.
We do
It
not.
should have come in February. There was talk of one, but it never came.
Okay.
I've also got a question. 2 years ago now, we approved the school that's supposed to have a Spanish-speaking. Yes, I believe that was 2 years ago now. But to my knowledge, they have not opened. What is the status of that charter, and what's happening with them?
They
Do we
haven't
know?
followed through with the process, so.
Uh-huh.
Don't they have, because I see ads and whatever, don't they have a certain time limit? as to
Yes,
when they-
that's why. Mhm.
Okay, 25.
Okay. Okay, good. That takes us down to events and announcements, a lot of graduations. I guess everybody's seen the list that Ms. Ford sent to us, so I know we'll all enjoy those. Last day of school, May 23rd, and then in-service day on the 24th. Everybody have a good Memorial Day, the 27th, the 19th, Juneteenth. Holidays, and our CO central office is closed that day, that's correct? Is that correct? Okay. And then our next board meeting on June the 20th, and to reemphasize, what our budget chairman says, look for a budget meeting on the 30th,
Well,
Thursday.
somewhere.
Somewhere
at
in
some
there,
point
okay.
soon.
And my birthday's next Thursday, in case you all want to bring me a gift to graduation.
I know, you and I'll be
I'll
about.
be at CCA's graduation at 5 o'clock. My nephew is graduating. I'll be at Tyner's on Tuesday at 7:30, and I'll be at Brainerd's on Saturday at 9:30. Feel free to drop by any of those graduations and drop my gift off.
10s and 20s.
So, so you and I'll be about the same age. So, you have something, Mr. Brett?
Just, I do want to acknowledge today, because I know today started as a very rough day for everybody. Many of us fielded very angry calls. I know that the superintendent sent out a message. I know that there's no message that will satisfy everyone. But I do want to give one, I don't envy anybody for the decisions that have to be made. It's very, we have information at a certain time. That doesn't mean it's always complete information. But I don't know if, Justin, you want to add anything else to the statement that you've made?
I appreciate you bringing it up. It was a difficult morning, and those are always difficult decisions. What I would say is kind of reiterate what I put in the statement, especially around transportation. As transportation team did an amazing job of getting everybody to school safe this morning. The conditions changed very quickly. When I was in north part of the county, literally went through roads that 30 minutes later I couldn't get back through, and so recognized that there were challenges, and we're still working in a number of locations. We've got a number of schools that still don't have power, and we still don't have a great timeline of when that will happen. So with those specific schools, we'll communicate something later this evening, either an update or directions for tomorrow morning. But off the top of my head, I believe it's Side Daisy High School, Daisy Elementary, Sequoia, and CSAS that are still without power.
Okay, we stand adjourned.